Yeah,
elite women's pairs here. And you'll know a bit about this, Tom.
Yeah, my little research pack that I prepared before the regatta will come into handy. It is Cambridge University Women's Boat Club on the Berkshire Station and Exeter University on the Buckinghamshire Station. Obviously, Cambridge University Women's Boat Club. This is Hannah Roberts and Miriam Guade. I can't quite pronounce her surname. I know she's French. I'm good friends with Anthony Benoit, a photographer that I know quite well. They raced in the Cambridge Blue Boat this year. Obviously lost out, unfortunately, but two very established athletes. While the Exeter University crew is Isabel Cole and Christina Stone, who placed third in elite women's pairs at the Metropolitan Regatta. I have to say, pre-race, my bet is on the Cambridge University women's crew, who are being warned for their steering already here. Obviously drifted out into the middle of the course, putting a little bit of unnecessary pressure on the crew from Exeter. But actually, I have to say, Exeter perhaps upsetting the form books a little bit, and they have. I mean, let's bear in mind here, the Cambridge University women's crew actually won the elite pairs at Met Regatta, elite women's pairs, the same race that the Exeter crew came third in. So on paper, this is not much of a matchup, is it, Greg?
No, but that's what is so great, Tom, about side-by-side racing.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're quite close, it comes down to how much more competitive aggression you've got. Cambridge have pulled back a bit. They know that actually that this isn't a walkover. They, of course, know that they won Met Regatta and that Exeter were third. So in their heads, maybe, was the fact that, well, actually, we know we're better than them. We'll just need to get out there and the race will be ours. But Exeter had that better start.
Yeah, absolutely. Impressive stuff, actually, from Exeter. I don't think Cambridge helped themselves by steering into the middle of the course, but it's good stuff from Exeter, as I said. Exeter University building quite a solid foundation there for their women's and men's university student rowing. And they are slowly improving year on year, and their girls' squad is particularly impressive this year and showing so on the course. But I think Cambridge University they're gonna show their power. Obviously, they train all year round for a 7-kilometre course, so a 1.5k course will be considerably easier for those girls, and their fitness will probably tell through the middle of the race. Obviously, Hannah Roberts, who I think was president of Cambridge University Women's Boat Club, so the creme de la creme of that Ely-based club, racing here at the Henley Women's Regatta, and they were silver medalists in the Champ Girls pairs anyway, so I think they're moving down the course. I think it will be Cambridge who continue to lead that race, so we'll head back to the start for the next heat of the elite women's pairs between Lee Rowing Club on the Berkshire Station and Oxford University Women's Boat Club on the Buckinghamshire Station. Now, Greg, this Oxford crew, I think I've earmarked them as my favourites. What do you think? This is two girls who rowed in the blue boat.
Yeah, they should be right up there, shouldn't they? And certainly their start was terrific. But actually, this is, I think, the most difficult boat to steer. You can see that from Lee going right across the course. It's really difficult because with a scull, you can make minor adjustments because you've got a blade in each hand. Here, you've only got one blade, and it's really up to your colleague, if you're going in the wrong direction, to pull them back on side. So, but Oxford, that is just fantastic start, absolutely straight as an arrow, and they are looking in terrific form, Tom, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And Maddie Badcott and Lauren Kadar on board. Maddie was president of OUWBC this year. And obviously, they both raced in the winning Oxford University Blue Boat in 2015 and 16. So, double blues. And they actually won the championship girls pairs at Bucks Regatta. So, loads and loads of pedigree in this boat. Probably an international class crew, hence why they're racing in the elite category. Lee Rowing Club, no pushovers though. They were 6th place in elite women's pairs at the Met Regatta. And Lee actually have a pretty strong contingent out here at the Henley Women's Regatta. So expect to see plenty of them today. But I think the absolute class crew in this event is the Oxford University Women's Boat Club. They are strolling away here. Probably 2 lengths up now. I think barring a disaster, it is going to be the Oxford University Women's crew. And if I could draw your attention just to the way they row, they are really in sync. And it's clear that these girls, Lauren and Maddie, have been rowing together for a while, because the way they know each other's movements, they know exactly what each athlete is going to do before they do it. And that is something that you can't teach. You have to have the experience together. You have to know each other inside out. And I think these girls are well versed in each other's rowing styles. And what I'd love to see, I think in the final, would be a rematch between Oxford University and Cambridge University. A real gut buster of a battle, true rivalry between those two crews, and it'll be fascinating to see who'd come out on top. I mean, the Oxford University crew do look really, really impressive here. I think perhaps we'll let the pictures do the talking for a couple of minutes so you can really soak in the atmosphere here at Henley Women's Regatta. But Oxford University continued to row down the course in impressive style.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. No, unfortunately, that all went out.
So you rejoin us here just as the crews come down past the enclosure, and it is Oxford University Women's Boat Club who've taken their rating down just a tad. I think they're strolling away to a fairly comfortable victory, so we'll move on to the next heat of the elite women's pairs, with the University of London Boat Club on the Berkshire station and Thames Rowing Club on the Buckinghamshire station. So two crews who actually it's hard to call between the two. I think if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on the purple-clad UL crew on the Berkshire station. But again, steering is becoming a real problem in this regatta. Thames Rowing Club this time from the Buck station, transferring right across to the Berk station. It is a difficult thing to steer a pair, particularly on the Henley course where the eyes do deceive you. But UL are now divvying into the middle. I mean, Greg, what can you say about these two crews? They seem to be all over the place.
Well, as I said, it's so difficult to steer these flipping boats, and you can see that here. This is a great shot of showing us how difficult steering is on this course. It's not a lake, so you've got a stream in there, you've got wind coming from different sides. It is really, really tricky. You need to have these experienced umpires helping out here. I was just trying to find out, Tom, about Shiplake Vikings, and you and I are probably too old now, because apparently that rule that you and I talked about, equipment failure within first 100 metres, the only regatta that counts now is the Olympics. So that means that Shiplake Vikings are definitely out, because that rule no longer stands. Anyway,
well, if it makes any of the Shiplake Vikings supporters feel any better, I do remember a couple of years ago there was a crew in the junior women's quadruple sculls category. Now, forgive my memory, I can't remember if it was Marlow or Gloucester Hartbury who crashed out, but they actually crashed out in the first round due to equipment failure and went on to win at Henley Royal Regatta. So all is not lost just yet, but we'll return to the race in hand, which is our third heat of the elite women's pairs between UL, University of London Boat Club, and Thames Rowing Club. And actually, as they came past, it was a cracker of a race. I think UL just about with a slight advantage. They had the better of the two starts. Both crews have now corrected their steering, so we should be in for a fantastic second half here, Greg.
Yeah, I think if they can keep straight, this will be a terrific race. But actually, this race could be won or lost on steering rather than rowing power or ability. Both crews are a bit bumpy, aren't they? They're moving from rocking right to left, and it looks to me as though it's the UL team that are a bit smoother at this moment, but they're still steering now towards the booms. They've had to correct that, but it looks like the UL team are just slightly up, and if they can just find the rhythm and keep that steering straight, I think they look as though they might be the stronger of the two crews. But it's actually quite a terrific race here. And I bet you the umpire's a bit happier now that he's not so involved.
Yeah, what I'd like to know is how much these two crews know about each other. Because obviously they row on the same stretch of water, that famous championship course, which runs for about 4 miles from Putney up to Chiswick. And they boat from opposite ends of that course. But they'll obviously have seen each other out rowing, I'm sure, on the Thames, on the tideway stretch of the Thames. So I'll be interested to see how well they know each other's game. But we can hear the shouts going up now for the two crews as they come past our enclosure station, and it is still very close. It is very tight.
This is just terrific, and both crews, if they can just get the steering right, it'll be the crew, it seems to me, that can keep the straightest, and that means that they can get the power into the water. And it's really, really close, because I think, do you know what? I think that Thames have just taken a bit of a lead there.
Oh, brilliant racing. Absolutely phenomenal racing here at the Henley Women's Regatta. And I think you're right, Greg, actually. The poor steering there, perhaps from UL, maybe divvying across to further out onto their station. And I think it might be Thames now, who have stolen a march on their opponents. Oh, it's coming down the course. It is incredible stuff here. Probably too close to call at this stage. Just trying to get a vantage point. That camera angle isn't particularly helpful.
Yeah, well, I think Thames have had a really good push in that middle part, haven't they? They really have. They really went for it. And I think that they've taken a bit of a lead, and it's really up to UL now to try and get back at them.
Let's try and respond, absolutely.
But good, well done, Thames. That was just a terrific push as they came through the enclosures.
You see the dragon boats in the background, desperately trying to keep up with the pairs. But as they come past it, I think it is Thames who have really stretched out in that third quarter. That is really impressive stuff, because as they came past us at the enclosures, it was Thames half a length down. So that is a phenomenal push from those girls, reminiscent of the French pair at the Sydney Olympics in 2000. They've just stolen the heart from this race and absolutely flown out the blocks. I mean,
That really is terrific rowing from Thames, really is. And they're much straighter now, aren't they? And you can see that UL are the ones, because they're trying to push, and when you try to push like that, then your steering does get affected, and so maybe it's Thames that are just a bit more relaxed, and they've just kept it on a straighter line, and that's made a big difference. But certainly that they really went for it. When they had to go for it, they really went for it and put the power down. Really well done.
In about 20 strokes, they really did steal the heart from that race. But I think it's going to be Thames who take the win in that. So maybe we'll head back to the start to find out what's going on up there. Now, I was just having a look at our interface here on the cameras, and the pairs race that's next down between Glasgow University and Oxford University Women's Reading has actually been stopped. We're unsure as to why at the moment. Crossing the line though, which
you can just see that the umpires stopped both of the crews now.
Yeah, I mean, crossing line, so just for that third heat of the elite women's pairs, it was Thames Rowing Club, I think, who took the win in that by around 3/4 of a length, so really impressive stuff from those girls. But yeah, if we head back to the start to find out what's going on up there, I think the umpire might have stopped both crews. It's really difficult to tell what's going on. It looked like something happened at the start. Somebody crashed into the booms in some way. It certainly doesn't look like both crews are racing at full intensity. Of course, this is our last heat of the elite women's pairs between Glasgow University on the Berkshire station and Oxford University Women's Reading Composite on the Buck station. So it is anyone's guess as to what's going on the course. Apologies, we can't bring you any more clarification. There's been a couple of races this morning which have divided opinion somewhat. I think this is another example of that. It really is too difficult to call what is going on. I mean, if we could, draw your attention perhaps away from the racing just momentarily, and if you are interested in any of the results that have happened over the morning or any of the scheduling racing that's coming up this afternoon, they're all online on our Twitter feed, Henley Women's Regatta, or online at the website www.hwr, so that's Henley Women's Regatta, abbreviated hwr.regattaresults.co.uk. There you go, you've got a little readout there on the screen. So any results that you are interested in seeing are available online. So we'll head back down now to the start for our next race, which is another heat of the junior women's quadruple sculls between